So, you're being a military man. I don't know. I'm not sure if any of your competition, those who have already declared to be candidates, do any of them have any military experience that you know of?
Yeah, one. As far as I know, only one. It's one of the congressmen that's running was a medical doctor in the United States Navy,
It's Fleming. Is
I
that
think so.
Fleming?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it's Dr. Fleming, and I appreciate his service. I commanded a wing that had a large medical group in the wing, so I've been an executive overseeing military health care, and I appreciate his service and
So
what
what?
he did for us.
Yeah, absolutely, and we certainly appreciate the service that you provided, to us to help make us safe. So, what would be, say, because you have this experience in the military, how is that a difference maker?
Oh, I think today it's a huge difference maker because the reason why our economy and the debt is the number one thing is that we've got to be able to be strong and lead in the world. And we're weaker than we've been in my 3 decades of military career. And we're not leading in the world. And the world's on fire right now because of that. I'm a believer that if we're strong and we're leading, we don't have to fight a bunch of wars. And we've gone in and done military interventions in places like Libya, where we should never have done that. All it's done is create a vacuum of power that's allowed our enemy, the Islamic jihadists called the Islamic State now. They've had several names. When I was in the Pentagon and got attacked on 9/11, they were called Al-Qaeda. But now they're the Islamic State, and they've just been allowed to grow and actually get stronger regardless of what our military operations have been up to against them. So I'm very concerned about that, and I think my experience as a senior and mid-level commander, both in combat, I've given orders in combat to young Americans that I've had to live with the rest of my life, not just the day after, and I still live with the consequences of those orders. And I think that's an important qualification to have in the U.S. Senate. The Senate's designed to advise and consent on things like treaties, military treaties, diplomatic treaties, and those kind of things. And I think it's very important we have real hard real world leadership experience learned outside of the political leadership realm, because I think political leadership is what's failing the American people right now.
Just out of curiosity, because I'm not so sure I agree with that the political leadership is failing. My theory is, and my strong belief is, that you have a divided country. Okay, I mean, you have 2 extremes in the silent majority middle, and basically what's happening is that the extremes are out there, and they're the ones making the noise, and they're the ones who are leading. Okay, within their own political area, and what we have is we have a breakdown. It's not a breakdown of leadership. It's that we have such a major philosophical difference between left and right, and that's my theory. I'm just wondering.
Well, I disagree with you somewhat on that, in that the things that some people say are extreme, really the people in the middle think that they're American, like the Constitution of the United States. Most people that think that the Constitution of the United States in its whole, in its entirety as amended, is the place where most average Americans think we ought to be. So if you believe in the freedom of speech and you believe in the freedom and right to keep and bear arms just as much as you believe in the freedom of speech, you don't pick and choose. And what I've seen is that both sides tend to pick and choose their issues based on the Constitution. And I'm a constitutionalist, and I think that's one place that makes me different. But I'm also a strong believer in being strong and leading in the world, because America is an exceptional country. But we brought more people out of poverty. We've relieved more people from oppression and those kind of things than any other country in the history of the world. And
sure,
we need to keep this country strong like that, not just for ourselves and our children and grandchildren, but for the world. And I think most people in the middle still believe that. And I think they think that it's ridiculous when we, for instance, have a president that won't even call the enemy that's declared war on us the enemy. He won't call them by their name. And if you look, I learned something in the military. You've got to identify your enemy. You've got to find them. You've got to target them, and then you've got to kill them in one way or another as rapidly as possible in order to overcome them and defeat them.
Okay.